Alright, hang on. Okay, Austin, why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To sync up the stupid audio things, for the love of all that's good.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. Hello, fellas. Welcome back to the Poke Podcast. Name still pending, I guess. I just may name this the Gameboys out of spite because no one watches this and I can do whatever I want. I'm unstoppable. You can't stop me. When we last left off, we were talking very quietly because there's a baby in the next room sleeping.
That's true.
But when we last left off, I think we had just beaten Misty. Does that sound right to you guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we beat Misty last.
Do you remember even at all, Austin?
I have no memory of this place.
I have no memory of this place. Yeah. So I think we just beat Misty, which is bonkers because we've gone all the way up through. Was Lieutenant Surge the last one we had? I think.
I believe so. I think I accidentally did it out of order.
Well, there's some. What's actually something I want to talk about, and that was a lot of fun, is that it starts to open up partway through, which I thought was pretty nifty. But we did end off at whatever town has the Safari Zone, ready to go across the water. We had just all acquired Surf, I think, was kind of where we left off. So I thought we'd just kind of go through, catch up, see what we think, where things have developed, how we feel about it. We talked about our history last time and kind of started, and I think also, fun fact, hook for everyone listening, this is a, jump ahead here, foreshadowing, I think we all have our teams settled now. And Austin's may surprise you the most, isn't that right?
I don't know if it's a surprise considering how it was already spoiled last session.
The surprise is you in fact stuck with just Pikachu the entire time. Surprise! Okay, so we went through Celedon. We fought Misty. It was a fun time. I mean, then we did Route 5 and 6. Yeah, what?
We went on the same.
We were heading to St. Anne, yeah. So I don't think there's too much really interesting about the specific routes we went through. It's lots of fighting. There is did either of you guys end up using the daycare center at all, actually?
I didn't know.
I think it's an interesting concept, but it just kind of doesn't work great in this game in practice, I think. So the idea is, you leave behind a Pokemon. Uh-oh, someone's interested in this. But you leave with...
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
After these messages.
After these messages. But no, you leave behind a Pokemon. And after a certain amount of time and in-game steps... that Pokemon that you've left is actually powered up. The idea being, even if it's not someone you really want in your team right then, you can kind of have someone power up along with you. My problem is they don't really power up fast enough to level with anything that you have. And in addition to that, we just got Fly, right? The three of them. Like, Austin, do you even have Fly? I remember you went back for it, didn't you?
I do have Fly, yes.
Like, Fly is totally missable, actually. It is not really on the main path, because I think you were asking me, like, hey, what do we need to do to catch up? I was like, technically just get here, but you'll want to grab Fly. I think you had totally missed it until you kind of asked me about it, right? Right,
yeah.
I brought it up somewhere, I think. And
I actually got Fly by accident.
You saw
where I was, and I was just like, hey, this guy looks talkable.
Yeah, you have to like go up north of like the bicycle road and actually get it, but it's totally not on the main path. Which is just, it's so interesting with the foresight of like in the future how these games get so handholdy, I mean, like, dude, you just played Sword and Shield, right, Austin, pretty recently?
I did play that a year or so ago.
Okay, yeah, pseudo recently, but like, how you can't go 5 steps without a tutorial happening, right?
My memory is a little bad on that. I don't remember like every 5 steps being a tutorial, but they pretty much give everything to you as you go. Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, I found it I haven't played a lot of the later games, but from what I've seen on the online discourse at least, this one, it just cracks me up that something that's considered like, it's not technically required to get Fly, but man, this game is a drudge if you don't get it for backtracking. And something so important being so obviously missable, I thought was an interesting choice, but I am kind of jumping ahead there. But yeah, we kind of did the routes. We got there pretty much without too much problem, and then we got to the SS Anne, obviously, which is one of the... It's interesting because it's one of the few areas that becomes missable later in the game. After you beat it, the ship just drives off, which is I think kind of funny, but I actually had a little bit of a hard time here because again, I was trying to stay under leveled for each each gym. I was trying to make sure my Pokemon didn't get above where the highest level of that gym leader's their Pokemon is, right? So I was trying to stay under leveled, but man, trying to keep everyone leveled out was really tough where I still didn't have a lot of Pokemon at this point. Because the next guy that we end up fighting is level 24. Where, at least for us, yours is a little bit different. I think he's a 28 for you, but it doesn't really matter. But anyway, but like the last one had been like 18. So 24 sounds like a lot, but it for how long we go before we get to Lieutenant Surge, I think it is. How far we go to get to him before like. It was really hard to not just have one Pokemon over-leveled and try and keep everyone balanced out. I gotta tell you, I was really missing in this run. This is where I started really feeling missing experience share from the later games. But I'm actually really curious, specifically, Austin, what your experience was as doing a solo run, because there's so many flipping trainers on this place. Did you just skip a lot of them, or did you have to keep going back to heal to restore your PP or anything like that? What was your experience here?
So on the SS Anne specifically, it wasn't as bad because I didn't run into a lot of counters to my Pikachu on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I typically bring with me some potions and PP restore when I'm going through sections like that, so I don't have to run back to the town center. So I cleared the entire SS Anne without having to leave it, and only had to use a potion a few times and restore one move once. Beyond that, the SS Anne wasn't that bad. It was pretty powerful compared to them.
That's great, yeah, because you're substantially over-leveled at this point, which you had to be to get through Brock with just a Pikachu, right? I mean, I know we don't remember exact levels, but I do believe you were pretty high-leveled at this point. So, Christian, as we were going through the SS Anne, could you hear what was that? Okay, yeah. So I was going to say, as we were going through the SS Anne, what was your experience going through this? Because this place really was a drudge. I will say one other thing. I made a point to actually 100% it. I cleared every single trainer there. Oh, you did too? Okay, so what was your experience going through this then?
So going through the SS Anne, I lucked out because my Rhydon, not my Rhydon, my Nidoking.
Yeah.
Nido Burrito.
Nido Burrito.
He had just, I think after the first battle, he learned Thrash.
Okay.
That, anybody that doesn't know, that's the move that it repeats like 3 or 4 turns with a very powerful attack. And then after he's done with the move, after like 4 or however many turns it goes, he gets confused.
Yeah.
But for most of these people, they had 1 or 2 Pokemon. So I literally would just use Thrash once, and it would like one-shot almost all of their Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of a breeze for me.
Well,
I think I used 1 health potion. But yeah, I went through the whole thing. The issue I did run into was he ran out of PP.
Yeah.
So then I had to adjust and use like Billy, my Venusaur. He came in with a much higher level. I think he was level like 32 at the time.
Yeah.
And that was much higher than almost anybody that was on the SS. And so I kind of flew through it on those 2.
So it is funny how different the experiences are with the levels, and that's something I like about this game is that we talked about this a little bit last time, but how accessible it is to both, I think, kids and adults, and part of why it's been so. Because I'm not to say y'all are playing like kids, but like y'all, I'm intentionally trying to play, making the game harder for myself a little bit by putting these limits on, and it has actually been an interesting challenge where I've had to balance some resources and stuff. And so the SS Anne for me was, even though it was a bit of a slog, it was a bit of a challenge based on the rules I had put, where I wasn't over-leveling 1 or 2 Pokemon. Whereas you guys did have some Pokemon that were higher leveled, and even though you maybe didn't have a more balanced, bigger team, because you guys there weren't any hard counters, and because you had some over-leveled Pokemon, you guys were both like, yeah, whatever, I just went right through, right? Like, it was just, you said you even 100% cleared it, and it was a breeze, so... Yeah. I find it interesting that the game allows you, it's got the flexibility to allow it be pretty brute forced if you want. If you play brute forced, as a kid and you don't want to strategize and all that, You can be like, I got my Pokemon I like, and he's 20 levels higher than everyone else, and I press the button and I win. And even if you hit a couple blocks, you can still get through the game that way. Or, if you want, it has the flexibility to allow someone to kind of make a self-imposed challenge that still leaves you with a little bit more of a, you know, a challenge. And I don't know. I think that's a neat thing. So anything else about this area or any comments at this point in the game that really like stood out to y'all? You know, we were in Vermilion City. You know, there's the gym that we go to next. Anything about this area that stood out as interesting?
I'm starting to get annoyed by the rival.
Oh, really? When you smell you later?
Smell you later, champ.
I forgot about the rival battle. Yeah.
Like, what gives him the right to talk to me like that? I don't know him.
Did either of y'all run into trouble with the rival here? It's been so long, you might not remember, but yeah.
The rival is no longer a threat to me.
Okay, he's just not. He's a non-factor at this juncture. That's great. What about you?
I think for me, he was the most difficult battle I had on the SSN because he had more type variations compared to most of the other people.
It's very water heavy on the SSN, if I remember, right? There's a lot of fish.
Mm-hmm.
And an electric type and a grass type, that also adds up. That may be part of why I had problems too, because Lander, my Charizard, was my, even though I'm trying to keep him leveled out, he was my carry, and no. Oh yeah, because I've got a Charizard, like a Sandshrew. I got a Charizard, a Sandshrew, and then I did have like Austin's Pika at this point, so, and like a bug type, so yeah, all the water types were really like, it was hard to not just have Pikachu carry me and over level past where I was trying to go, trying to get those other guys. I was mentioning this, but like, I mentioned this again, but I want to reinstate it. I cannot express how much I miss experience share.
Oh yes.
Because I wouldn't mind it so much if I wasn't trying to keep an evenly leveled team. But whenever I get to a part, and I know it's because I'm doing a self-imposed challenge, but whenever I get to a part where it's like, these are all the water Pokemon, I'm like, well, I don't want my one electric guy to level up past my thing, so I wish I could take some of his experience and give it to the fire guy who can't do anything, because the other alternative is I just have the fire guy out, swap out, Pikachu takes a hit, then he kills them, and it whittles me down and slows down the fights even more, and I gotta tell you, I've still been enjoying the game a lot, but I was, between last session with Brock and then this, I'm starting to miss some of the modern quality of life features. Oh my word. Okay. So yeah, we fought the rival. We got through the SSN. Is it weird you have to give the captain a back rub?
That did make me a little...
This is made in the 90s before we were that worried about, like, child predation, I guess.
Like... And he says, I can't remember exactly what he says, but what he says is very creepy.
He's like, oh, thank you so much, that feels so good, or something like that. Whoa.
And, like, thinking about it in the context of the game where, like, your character is 10, 12?
Probably 10. I think 10 is when you start your Pokemon adventure or whatever, yeah.
So yeah, you're a 10-year-old kid, and he's like, oh yeah, that's a great back rub. Thank you so much.
It was Japan in the 90s, man? I don't know. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Hoof. Hoof, hoof. Alright. So, the next gym is, Lieutenant Surge. Once you get out, you get cut from the captain. And, you get cut from the captain, and that allows you to go fight Lieutenant Surge. So, I'm actually really curious, especially of Austin, who is just going through the pure electric type. Did the same type matchup, like, I know you're over leveled, but did it cause it to take forever because your attacks did nothing, or because they couldn't hurt you, it was such a breeze? Which was it?
It was pretty neutral. I was forced to either use Quick Attack, which didn't do much damage to him, or I think it's Tackle. No,
there's
Slam.
Like tail
Slam
hit too.
That's the one.
Oh,
that I was
it's Slam.
using. So, which I swear RNG hates me. That move misses 80% of the time. So, it was me trying to spam Slam until it ran out of moves because it missed so much, and then try to hopefully kill him with Quick Attack. I didn't lose to him, but it was annoying.
If I remember correctly, in Gen 1, I think I mentioned this last time, but your accuracy is tied to your speed, and I don't think Pikachu, of all things, actually is that fast a Pokemon, so I think you have a decently low base stat accuracy because of that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I know. You've just been having a blast. This has been interesting watching you do the Chosen One strategy. He wasn't that hard, but man, this is maybe my least favorite gym to get into in the game with his stupid puzzle. Do y'all remember the trash can puzzle?
Yeah, you have to be lucky enough to guess the 2 right ones.
They are right next to each other. That's so when you get one, and one of the guys tells you after you beat him, if you get one of the trash cans, maybe you didn't notice this based on your face, Christian. I don't think you. Maybe it was some extra difficulty.
It took me a lot longer than it took you guys. Sounds of it.
Yeah, so you get one. One of the guys tells you this in the gym if you talk to him. But if you guess the first one, the second one spawns in one of the adjacent ones. So it's actually better to get your first one on one of the edges because it eliminates an option near it, basically. So that's kind of the trick to force it, is like keep going till you get one on the edge so that you have fewer options. But
That's a good idea.
that's so you struggled for a while on that one.
I was just checking trash cans.
Was this any kind of bother for you, Austin, or did you just zoom on through like everything else?
It took me 5 seconds. Then I
5
was
seconds, of
moving
course,
on.
yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Spoilers for says anything caused you any problems in this, or you just zooming on the rest of the game, you're like, yep.
Geodude.
I was gonna say, okay, that was foreshadowing, actually. I was trying to set you up, because next we went to Diglett's Cave, I believe. Which actually does let you, I don't know, this is actually optional. You don't have to go to Diglett's Cave yet. This is what lets you go back and get some older items. Did you guys go through Diglett's Cave?
I did, but if memory serves correct, I don't think I ran into a Diglett.
Through the whole cave?
I don't think so.
What did you find there? Just Zubats?
Zubats and Geodudes.
Oh my
Like, that's all I remember fighting. Maybe I might have run into a Paris once,
Oh yeah, I really liked Paris.
but I think that's really all I ran into. I would have remembered running into a Diglett in Diglett's Cave. but
One would think.
What are the odds?
So that does remember. I think I mentioned this last episode, but I'm going to bring it up again because you mentioned Paris, and it's like Paris is nowhere on my team. I have no plans to use Paris, but I saw one and I was like, "Oh, that's cool!" And it is so infectious, like wanting to catch the Pokemon. For me, at least. Maybe you guys know, but I'm like, There's a part of me that's like, maybe I can just go catch them all, and then I can just like do that. I'm trying to stop myself because that's not what this podcast is about, but it is incredibly good at what it does, I think, in enticing you and wanting to. Well, what's so popular nowadays, right? Like these gacha games, where you have like 100 different characters. This is like the original,
Yeah.
like child predation gacha game, right? That's. But yeah, we went through that. Now the next big thing we did go through after Diglett's Cave, drumroll, was the rock tunnel. This is last episode you mentioned. Oh yeah, I went into the dark cave and couldn't see. But that was actually, it wasn't mechanically dark. This is the part that was mechanically actually dark.
Yes.
And I think on my notes, I think this was foreshadowed in the last episode, but again, I want to quote myself, I think. What did I have here? Yeah. Every 5 freaking steps, a Geodude, I swear.
That's accurate.
Was that y'all's experience? Yeah, going through.
100% yes.
So this is the part that gave y'all some trouble too, right?
This was the worst part of the game for me.
You went through without Flash too, didn't you?
I brute forced it. I went no flash, but the visuals were super easy because I could see the walls still. So it's like, sure, I can't see the floor or the people, but since I can see the walls, I know where I'm going, so I didn't need flash. I
guess that's fair. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to jump back real quick because I just was reading my notes and I forgot to mention something. Do y'all remember Bill? We didn't talk about Bill last time, where he's just like a Pokemon. He just fused with a Pokemon and he asked... Yeah.
He's just like, can you help me?
Yeah!
I'm stuck.
He just, like... I like the implications first off that he did this test. How did he do the test without anyone helping him? And then because he's a Pokemon, he can't... How did he get himself into this situation on his own, but couldn't get himself out of it on his own?
Exactly.
Is just baffling to me. I think that's... oh my word. Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this is something I talked about because on the SSA and on my notes too. Yeah, Lander, I can't get past 24, level 24, till we hit Surge. He hit 23 like as soon as I went into this thing, so I had to bench Lander to keep him from leveling the whole time. So it was Also, this is a fun thing. I was trying to 100% that place. There's a hidden super potion that is just on an invisible tile under a bed. In this game, so if you want to get like everything in it, you like have to I had to look up a guide for this because I was like, you have to like go to this like one specific tile near a bed, and today it's like you got a super potion. So that was
crazy. I had no idea.
It was some nonsense. Oh, speaking of that, did you have? Because that's a fun fact. Did you have fun facts you wanted to do? You had mentioned this before.
I do have some fun facts.
Yes.
I can jump into it now, or if you want to finish the.
You want to do a fun fact? Do we want to do a fun fact section later, or do we want to just sprinkle them throughout the podcast?
Sprinkle.
I'll
sprinkle. Yeah, sprinkle one in.
I'll give you a little sprinkle.
Okay, give me a sprinkle. I need
none of us currently have a Blastoise, but a fun fact that I didn't know this. I'm curious if either of you guys knew it. Early concept art has shown that Blastoise originally didn't have the cannons on the back of his shell. It was just a giant blue turtle.
What?
That stood on two legs.
I didn't know that, but why would he be called Blastoise then? Like, that's the whole joke.
I don't know.
Maybe he wasn't named that yet.
As far as I could tell, the concept art was him versus a Staryu.
Yeah.
And the name that he had written on the sketch was, and I'm probably butchering this, Carabajo?
Okay, what's that mean? Like that's...
That apparently is a reference to an Italian painter, Caravaggio.
What?
And some people believe that this is then another reference to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because they're famous artists.
Okay, I was totally like, this is so stupid until you know what? That's like a double meta joke. Now, I think they were probably wise in trying to break out by just putting two giant Falkoff blast cannons on a turtle. But yeah, I am sad to hear that we lost the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles joke. That would have been pretty great.
I thought that was a really cool fact that I had never heard before. Had either of you guys heard that?
I have.
I have not. I dropped the concept art in the channel so you guys can see it.
Ooh! You already found it?
I found it. Yeah.
I'll pull that. Nice. And I'll put that in. You know what? Like I said, I'll put that in as the visuals. Yeah, that's fun. That's neat. Dope. Okay. So... Oh, something I did mention here when I mentioned... I was just trying to take a little notes as I went along. And I think it was about this point where I started noticing I really have appreciated... It gives just enough... Like, this does... It feels like an 8-bit game. It feels a little simple. I think we've all agreed. But I have loved the little touches, like different battle animations when you start. It's not just like the screen flashes. Like sometimes the edges of the screen kind of circle in black, or like it kind of cuts in. Like they're very simple, but they're different. I started noticing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's good. I like that there's some variation. I like that the little trainers do a little jig, you know, kind of before the battle starts. And I was just noticing, how are you guys feeling aesthetically, I guess, about this game at this point through? Because I was feeling like it's simple, but I personally think there's just enough to make me feel like invested, like I'm not bored of looking at it.
Austin, do you want to go first?
I think I'm getting visually bored of it.
You are? Okay. How could you be bored when you have such beautiful, ever-changing, like, vomit of rainbow colors on your version?
Yeah, it's not great.
So it may just be me. And you're black and white, Christian, so...
I'm black and white. I'm not necessarily bored. I do appreciate, kind of like you said, the opening cutscenes, how there's some variation there. But I think all of these retro 8-bit aspects really just add to the charm of this classic game that's a major part of history. And something else that I've noticed that's interesting is, and I'm sure we'll touch on this more as we move throughout the other generations, but remembering the different battle animations for different moves across say this first game versus like some of the more recent ones like Gen 3, Gen 4, they really went through a evolution in just how they edit those moves into play. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but you see, I agree, but I'll also say the building blocks are actually weirdly the same. I watched it. There's a great video I'll link to that talks about Pokemon's battle animations, and I think they start running into problems when they hit the 3D era, personally, because there's less abstraction at that point. But the basic idea is they realized, okay, they even said this, they made like 5 bajillion moves. I guess this is a fun fact, I'm gonna have one. They made all the moves first. Or maybe not first, but they made all the moves independent of the Pokemon. And then they made all the Pokemon. And then they said, okay, what Pokemon will get what moves? And they handled the battle animation similarly, where it's not like Blastoise has an attack, right? It is the attack water gun has a little animation that just goes from the left screen to the right screen, no matter what the Pokemon is. Oh, someone likes the Pokemon, huh? She's just excited about it.
She's awake.
Do you want to play you want to play with the Blastoise? No? Okay. But so how they handled it was, rather than give each Pokemon an individual like attack animation, or try and make each Pokemon's attack unique, which would take up a crazy amount of memory, they just gave each attack kind of its own animation, which I'm sure you all have noticed. Each Pokemon each attack gets its own animation, and they just go, okay, go from left side of the screen, whatever the left Pokemon is, to the right, so that you can mix and match so many things and save on the limited memory that they had to make this. Because I mean, this bad boy. I'm going to talk about memory. This guy has only, what is it? It tells me right here, 1 megabyte. I think it says something like that. It's incredibly small. It may be bigger than that. I don't know. Maybe it's incredibly small. Like how little room they had here. But I also hear what you're saying, Austin, where it's like this isn't. I mean, it's doing a lot with very little, but it's still very little, right? I mean, it's just not enough to keep your interest visually.
It's not necessarily that it's like the old school graphics, because I prefer it compared to the 3D models of the later Pokemon games. But at least the way that Pokemon Yellow I do have a setting on the emulator that tones it down now. But the standard bright neon random light changes every zone you go to was a bit annoying, and some of the Pokemon designs are a little bit funky, and I think they perfect the kind of this old school method in a couple generations down.
Right. No, I totally get that. I think yours does have that, because it was the first one that was compatible with color, and I think I've looked at it. I think they just went absolutely bonkers with it. Yeah, they just lost their minds. I have more steady. What do you call it? Like he's black and white, and I think most of my stuff is just red with a little bit of blue in it, basically. So it's less egregious, I'd say. Ooh, Shoney's excited. Okay, so I think next we hit was it Lavender Town? Does that sound right?
I think we were still talking about the Flash Cave, or did we finish with that?
Oh yeah, we were in the Flash Cave. Yeah, how many tries, Austin, did it take you to get through that cave?
I had to leave and come back 5 times.
5 times? Did you just start running at a certain point, or like what?
No, well, okay, so here's the thing. After a certain point, I just started running from normal fights, because the amount of Geodude... If I kept fighting every freaking Geodude that popped up, the next trainer battle would kill me.
Yeah.
Because they also just use a spam of Geodudes, or Onyx.
Oh my word.
Or other
Did you get
repels?
stuff?
No, I did not use a repel, I just ran.
In retrospect, I would have suggested repels at this juncture. I think I had to go back once to refill, but I was okay. I think actually in my notes specifically, I say, yeah, Vasher, my Sandslash, is just an absolutely monster. He gets a crit on every single slash. I got over 5 in a row. He just gets critical hits. It's beautiful.
That's awesome.
What about you though, Christian? How was the dark cave for you? The rock tunnel or whatever it was.
Geodudes are absolutely nothing to a grass type.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, you just happen you picked easy mode over there with Billy. How's that?
Vine Whip and I can't remember the name of the move, but it's like leaf slash or something. the two of those carried me through it. I had enough PP to get through the whole thing.
When I was in Dark Souls mode.
Yeah, dark. So yeah, some different experiences where I had like a moderate amount of trouble. This was Austin's worst nightmare, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice. It was just. Oh my word. So yeah, we did survive that, but yeah, it is interesting. I will say this, and I do appreciate it because it's a kid's game. You know, we are overanalyzing a kid's game here, but like, I do like that you can brute force through it. It's obnoxious that it's this obnoxious. I kind of wish there was a little bit more room for clever use on some of these self-imposed challenges, but all at the same time, like, if you're a kid and you don't get it, you can keep banging your head against this and eventually get through if you're persistent enough. Because think back to, 1996, 1998 when this comes out. You got a Game Boy. That's not cheap back then in $1998. And even though it was a cheaper option, I don't know about y'all, I didn't have a ton of Game Boy games. I don't think any of us... Actually, Austin, did you even own a Game Boy?
Oh yeah, I had a small collection of Game Boy games that I like to play.
No, Game Boy or Game Boy Advance? 'Cause you're a little bit younger.
I guess I did have the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. See, you had the Game Boy, which I'm talking... Did you have original Game Boy, Christian? You and I are closer.
I had a Game Boy SP.
Yes. Okay, so I was the only one who actually had a Game Boy Color. And those were expensive, I think I was really blessed that my parents did that, but yeah, so I owned like 4 games. I remember looking like to get more games, they're too expensive, like enjoy the ones you've got. So, but what I'm bringing up is if you're that poor kid, not poor, like you've got a game system, but if you're a kid and you don't have, it's so easy to get so many games now, especially as adults. Like we have more games that we can play. But I think back then, if you could have one game on the Game Boy, like a Pokemon game is not a bad one to have. And that's what a lot of kids had if they had anything. And if you've got that, it would suck if you get too complicated. Because there are games like Final Fantasy Legends and things like that. Legends was actually one of the things that inspired that, hey, you can make an RPG on this. We could deal with that another time. But it was hard. It was a lot harder than this. And I think there's an intention to detail that is like, except for that stupid Charizard thing, but even that, you can brute force your way through eventually. They tried to make sure that the game is never going to like stop you in your tracks. And I don't know, I've appreciated that, thinking about not just how am I enjoying this as an adult, but how would a kid enjoy this? And even though it's a lot harder than other games, later in the series, even though it's harder than later games of the series, I do appreciate that there is a intentionality and willingness to make it, accessible to children still. I've rambled on enough about that. I'm sorry. But then we did get to Lavender Town after that. I think doesn't Rock Tunnel lead to Lavender Town basically?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Lavender Town. Yeah, Rock Tunnel leads to Lavender Town. Okay, I mean there's a route in between, but whatever. There's things. You get a fishing rod at some point. Whoop-de-doo. There is a guy that can rename your Pokemon here. I think that's funny. I'm glad that's in the game. Why you would put it halfway through the game? I guess they wanted to be like, if you've changed your mind, if you're like halfway through and you're like, that was a bad name. It's like, okay, here he is halfway through. I don't know why he's here. I think it's funny. There is the infamous Pokemon Tower yet, but I think we'll talk about that. I don't know about y'all, but you can do half of it and you get stuck and then you have to go get the Silph Scope. But I think I just told y'all, don't bother going in until you get the Silph Scope. Because if you go there, there's a ghost that blocks you and it says, you need the Silph Scope. So I think most of us just... I mean, Austin, you just passed on through this, right? You didn't do halfway and then go back?
Correct, I did continue forward.
Yeah, okay, so we'll come back to we'll come back to that in just a second. Because the next area is Celedon, and boy, this is really interesting, because I don't know about... Up to this point, I think I've mentioned, the game has felt a little bit bare, right? It doesn't feel very lived in, it just kind of feels like there's just enough to do to get you to the next point. And I had kind of thought that was a limitation of the system, but when you get to Celedon, there's so much to do that it makes me think maybe it was an intentional choice to not overwhelm the player. Because, man, do you remember Celedon? This is the place with, like, there's, like, the casino here, there's, like, the department store here, there's the rocket hideout here. Oh, yeah. Like, this is where, like, I think you actually came here and, like, left 3 times and came back because you didn't, like, even realize how much there was, right?
The only reason I had to come back to this place was I forgot about the lemonade up at the roof of the department store.
That's one of the stupidest, like, Oh, This game can be so obtuse sometimes, because you also can get to most places, not everywhere, but you get to most places by just taking the long way around. But yeah, one of the shops randomly on the roof just has lemonade, and that is what's needed to like open up a lot of new areas. How you would know that without a guide, I don't know. Like, the guard does say, gee, I'm thirsty, but like, I wouldn't go, oh yeah, get lemonade on the ceiling, like, whatever. I love this place, though, because if you sneak around to I think it's like in the back of a building, it's again, one of those things that's not very obvious, right? Going back through this, even though maybe the remake does hold your hand a little bit more, I'd have to look at the comparisons, but I'm like, how did I find Fly my first time without a guide? How did I get this Eevee without a guide? Like, 'cause they're out of the way. I guess I just spent more time exploring as a kid or something. But there is just an Eevee you can get here, which I'm sure benefited you very much, Austin.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Did you know there was an Eevee here, or is that a...
No, I did not.
Yeah, there's an Eevee here you can get, which is great for me, because that's part of my team. I specifically say in my notes, say, got Brody! Because I had a dog as a kid named Brody, and he kind of, in my brain, looked like a Jolteon. So I immediately got this Eevee, and in the same town you get the Eevee, you can get the stones that can help evolve some of your Pokemon. So I got the Eevee, immediately made him a Jolteon, and this is where I personally retired Austin's Pikachu, gave him back to you. But yeah, this is also where Erica is, actually. Who is, I have feelings. Do you remember Erica, the Leaf Gym, Austin?
Yes, I remember you complaining about a certain move that was super annoying for you, but Erica never used it on me once.
Not once?
Nope, I just killed her.
She didn't use it once?
No.
Did she use it on you?
All the time.
Okay, so so Austin just gets by being the goal. They might have changed. Maybe he's on yellow and they changed how. I don't know if they did, but I know. Here's the thing. Okay, the move I'm talking about, of course, is wrap specifically.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, what do you think I was talking about?
I have a list of the movesets in the Pokemon for yellow, so I can make sure I'm remembering right. Yellow version Erica, none of her Pokemon have wrap.
What? They took it away. They knew. They knew. Okay, so that's what she's got. So the thing is, it's an awful combination. I literally put, golly, that was annoying. She has wrap, she has sleep, and she has paralyze. Oh my gosh. So the thing about wrap is in every generation after this, you can't use it twice in a row, right? Like, if someone's wrapped and you use wrap again, it fails. You have to, like, wait a turn in between. In this one, you don't. So, and each use of the move can go up to 5 times. So you use wrap and it wraps, and you're finally like, broke free! And then they use wrap again, wrap. So they can just keep you stun locked infinitely until they run out. Now, the AI doesn't use that move every time in a row. It's kind of random. But, oh my gosh. Like, this wasn't even hard, in my opinion. I mean, it was difficult, but, like, it wasn't, like, the hardest gym. Like, but it was, like, I never got to move. Wrap, sleep, paralyze, wrap, sleep, paralyze, wrap. Like, what about you, Christian? I know you had a grass type. Did that aid you at all, or it doesn't help you against the status effects, though, right?
So I went in thinking that Venusaur wasn't going to be able to be paralyzed or put to sleep.
That's not how that works at all.
That is definitely not how
that works. 100% not how that works.
So I went in and threw Venusaur out first because I was like, you can't do nothing to me. Bring it on. And then she hit through with the sleep powder. And before anything happens, I'm like,
yeah,
she doesn't know what she's doing. Who does she think she is? And then it says, Venusaur is asleep.
Yeah.
And I just...
All your dreams shattered at that moment, didn't they?
She put me to sleep, and then she wrapped me while I was asleep. So I woke up, and I was wrapped. And then she put me to sleep. It was a vicious cycle. It was very frustrating.
But did you beat her your first try?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That's the thing. She's not even that hard. She's just that annoying.
Yes, she's so annoying.
Oh my word! And it cracks me up on yellow. You're like, I didn't get wrapped once, and you looked it up. They knew. Someone complained because you said I don't know if you heard, but he said, yeah, no, they took it out of Pokemon Yellow. She doesn't have any wrap moves.
That's wild.
Oh,
she does still have sleep, paralyze, and poison, but which I did get poisoned and I think put to sleep once.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it wasn't that bad. The first Pokemon she throws out has Bind to Constrict, but I one-shotted that one.
Yeah, I mean, Constrict is bad, but like,
it's no wrap.
But yeah, so at this point I had my Jolteon named Brody, I had my Sandslash Vasher, I had my Charizard named Lander. I was still using O-Rats at this point, and then I caught a Meowth that I named Jesse James. Which is like a double pun because it's like the musician Jesse James and also like Jesse and James which is a pun, like it's the same pun, but I don't know, I thought it was funny. And then the Paris I named Mushroomin, who was just hanging out. I don't think y'all wrote down your teams. Austin, I know it was a while ago, but you might have a hard time remembering who you were using at that point.
I think it might have been Pikachu.
Oh, right, okay.
If my memory serves me correctly, I believe my team at this point going in, I had Billy, the Venusaur.
Yep.
No, Ivysaur.
Yeah, he was an Ivysaur.
He was an Ivysaur at that point. I had Mito Burrito.
Yeah,
Mito
of course.
I had Spencer, my, at that time, Drowsy.
Oh, yeah.
He's evolved now, so I didn't know. And then Hot Dog, my Growler.
Oh, yeah! Now, his Hot Dog, he's fallen out of favor at this point. Oh, no, he's still there. Okay. I was looking at your team, this is where my note's in, which is pretty funny. The last note I have as we go back to the Pokemon town. Well, I'm trying to remember, when you go to Cerulean City, or Celedon City, isn't this where, yeah, you do have to go through the Team Rocket hideout, right? Yes. How did y'all feel about the puzzle, the little what do you call it? The arrow, the spinny arrow puzzle,
the boost pads.
How was that? Did y'all have fun with that?
They say Team Rocket's a villain because they steal Pokemon. I say it's because of this puzzle. This puzzle was the bane of my existence. I think it's my least favorite part of the entire game. I went through it so many times, and I would like go through and track it and be like, okay, so this is what I need to do. And it would still keep spitting me out this exact same spot, and I could not get through. It was frustrating.
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite thing about this, so I mentioned to y'all last time, did either of y'all have a chance to look up? I doubt it, we have real lives. I doubt y'all spend your time thinking about Pokemon when I'm not forcing you to for money and profit. But did either of y'all get a chance to look up anything about Twitch Plays Pokemon? Okay, so I'll mention again. Twitch Plays Pokemon was when they did that thing where they put on Twitch a ROM of Pokemon and people would comment a thing, and then the character would do that move. And they had to get through the entire game. So people did up, right, A. And at this point, it had gotten really popular. So what happened here was they got to this puzzle, which is frustrating. Sorry, Austin, I didn't even ask you. How did you like the puzzle? I didn't hear from you.
I had 0 issues on the puzzle. It was
of course,
just speed run.
Went on. No. But I was gonna say, so they got to this puzzle, and it's difficult enough for us mere mortals to just do it on our own, right? But imagine like 100,000 people at the same time trying to control a character trying to get through this puzzle. It went on. I think they got stuck for like multiple days. This is the point where they installed. I mentioned before that like through most of it was kind of just random chaos. But then they introduced a thing where you could vote for chaos or order, and if order won, whatever was the most used, whatever was the most used or the most inputted command would be what would use. And that was input directly so that they could actually get through this puzzle. Like that was the only way they were going to get through because they get stuck forever. And so they kind of implemented like a mode where instead of just doing whatever the last thing said was, whatever the most voted one would be done. And that's the only way they got through this because it's just absolute madness. So because it's like it is for kids. It's not that hard of a puzzle, but it is when you're not paying that close attention or if you're 100,000 people at once. But this really made, I mentioned just a second ago, but this really made Celedon feel full because there's the gaming corner, there's this gym, there's the department store. This is a really big place with a lot of stuff in it. Did any of y'all do any of the gaming corner stuff?
No.
Those slot machines.
I didn't do the slot machines. I talked to the people around them.
Yeah.
But most of them were just like, I can't win the slot.
Yeah.
But I did end up getting the coin case for the slots.
Yeah.
On accident, and now I can't get rid of it.
No, you can.
No, it's one of the ones that it doesn't give the option to sell.
No, it's not sell. I've told you this before. You guys keep forgetting. You can go to your PC, go to your items, and hit deposit items, and deposit all the key items you're not using. I've told you all that before. Yeah.
I literally only have room for Pokemon.
No, I've talked to you guys about this. You can... Austin, you knew you could deposit items, right? I talked to you all about this.
Yeah, I don't have much of a need for it anymore because, one, I don't carry Pokeballs because I'm not capturing things. And so I just have one type of potion, a PP restore, and then I sell all of my TMs because I don't plan on using any. So I don't really run into an issue with items anymore. I did at the start before because I assumed I had a big inventory slot like most other games. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Then I just managed it better.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, I'm showing Christian live on TV. And then hit deposit item, and you can just put anything you're not using. So, like, you're gonna never use the SS ticket again, so just put it in there. Yeah. I wish you could see his face. Oh, look. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. I'm putting that on the podcast, the look of shock. No, just deposit anything you're not using. Yeah, just put it in there. Okay, that's a slight divergence. Oh my word. Yeah. So you've been going through this whole game with, like, no inventory at all.
Yes.
And, like, just dropping things probably constantly.
Yes. I am constantly dropping things because I thought, well, if I can't sell it, I'm stuck with it.
Yeah, so, yeah, there you go. That's your inventory fixed. I wish you could see the look of, like, disbelief and, like, utter, like, betrayal on his face right now that this discovery has been made. Oh my word. Okay, well... So we fought Giovanni, though. Is this our first time fighting Giovanni? I think it is, right?
In this game, yeah.
Yeah, no, here. I think that was a fun little, like, he's a fun little boss, you know? He was decently challenging for me. He's got a lot of rock type. Did that, or ground type. Did that cause you some problems?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that experience go? Fighting the rock type Giovanni after that long, you have to go through a lot of trainers. Did it go well? Did you beat him in one try?
No, he did beat me the first time because I was not expecting rock types and my Pikachu was already half dead. From fighting other stuff, just running through. So I managed to barely get through the Onyx, and then once Rhyhorn came out, Rhyhorn killed me the first time, but with the full health Pikachu, I was able to slam him to death eventually.
Nice. Yeah, just come on and slam. Yeah, so that's pretty great. So then we all get the Silph Scope. Yippee-ki-yay. That's a lot of fun. And then we headed back to Lavender Town. This is, how many friggin' creepypastas has this place, spawned, right? I think it's decently spooky for a kid's 8-bit game. The music is pretty unsettling, I think. There's this great video that kind of breaks down. I'll link this too. I'm giving future me all kinds of work to do. But there's this really good video that kind of goes over why the Lavender Town music is kind of uncomfortable. That I thought was pretty interesting. I'll link it there if anyone's interested in that. But, I mean, this is decently spooky. Pokemon are not fainting here. They're dead. Friggin', like, there's ghosts hanging around. There's a bunch of weird, like, people possessed by the spirits of... But, I don't know, man. It gets really freaky here, man. Like, for a kid's game, at least. I think the only note... This is where my notes stop, but the last note I have here is confusion in the Pokemon Tower is evil, and they knew it. That's why there's a healing thing in the middle of this place. This is the only gym with... Or, dungeon with a giant healing, like, thing in the middle of it. So I think they knew that it was frustrating. So actually, here it says you run into Jesse and James again. I was looking at the notes here.
Jesse and James are pushovers to me because they don't have anything that is annoying to fight with electric, so I just one-shot them all.
Yeah, Meowth, Weezing, and Arbok, it looks like. Arbok.
Yes.
But yeah, there's the thing where there's a cute little mini story here where there's like, the ghost of the Cubone's mother, and you have to like assure it that, you play the flute to soothe its soul or whatever. So that's big and spooky, and Team Rocket's just kind of established as being pretty despicable at this point. And then you run into, isn't it here that you run into your rival, or did you run into him earlier?
You do run into your rival according to my notes here.
You do or didn't?
I did.
Yeah. Because there's the fight where he's like, oh yeah, did any of your Pokemon die? Like, he's just...
Yeah, he has no filter.
He's like, the thing is, people hate him, and I get it, but also, that is exactly like a spoiled 10-year-old boy. Like, that is just... It's like, oh, did Pokemon die? That sucks. Like, you've mentioned how much you love the rival, right, Christian?
Oh, I hate him so much. And, like... Something that's so interesting about the Pokemon Tower to me, and that, like, I remember, like, kind of she does not want to sleep, but she's tired.
Maybe we need the Poke Flute to soothe her soul, too. Actually, that wakes people up, doesn't it? Okay, that's the wrong move. She heard the Poke Flute, now she woke up.
So, something that was so...
We can take a break if we need. No, I can edit out anything. I'm immortal. I am God over the audio of this world.
You have to leave that part in?
I don't have to! I don't have to do anything! No. Maybe quick save? Okay, there you go. Let's just... Right there. Okay. The cat just tried to erase Christian's game.
Oh yeah, that was dramatic.
It just walked over the DS, and he looked down, and the DS said, do you want to reset your save or something like that?
I almost lost it.
Oh yeah, but the Pokemon Tower.
The thing about the Pokemon Tower and the ghost, and the premise that Pokemon actually die, threw me for a loop. I remember as a kid being so confused, because I thought, oh, Pokemon don't die, they just faint.
Yeah.
Because all the way up until this game, like, you're battling... If they lose the battle, it's just a feint. They don't actually die. So, like, that... I remember that was, like, rocked my world. Like, there are Pokemon that are dead, and they're here, and they're haunting you.
Well, do you remember... Wait, I skipped over this. Do you remember Lieutenant Surge being like, oh yeah, Pokemon saved me during the war?
Yeah, the war, too.
Which war? Like, I think it's pretty clear in this version that this is just alt history, and they mean, like, World War II or something like that, but now there's, like, this whole lore thing that they don't have to get about the Great Pokemon War or whatever's going on now.
And, like, I'm trying to remember. I think I saw this thing. I'd have to double-check it. But Lieutenant Surge, originally, like, his character design was more, like... military style.
Yeah, grizzled, yeah.
A lot more grizzled, and they made him a little bit more like science-y.
Yeah.
Like in the remake, he has like a lab coat and stuff instead of like military.
Oh, he's wearing like straight up camo in this thing. Yeah, he looks like Guile basically from Street Fighter.
Yeah, but they changed it because it was too like war.
Yeah, watching what they edit and what they leave in the remakes is one, and we'll talk about that, but that's one of the funnier things to do. But so we put the souls of the Pokemon to rest, and then we went to... Did you guys visit... This is optional, but did you guys visit the fake fighting dojo gym in Saphron City? This is where we started splitting off.
Yes, because that's where you get either Hitmonlee
or Hitmonchan.
Which
you guys get with the references to that, right? You know,
Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, which is phenomenal that there are Pokemon immortalized that are Bruce Lee and Jackie friggin' Chan. It's great.
I love that.
Austin, did you get to go to that fake gym?
I don't think I did because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh man, okay, so in Saphron, there's one that's like straight up, they literally go like, we were a gym, but we've recently lost like our accreditation, which is also funny because apparently there are like legit accredited gyms, but they're like, but we're still cool, we'll get back on top one day, and you go in and you beat them, and it's like, it's only like 4 trainers or something, and it's a fighting type gym, but he's like, please, we don't have accreditation, so we're not legally allowed to give you a badge. can we just like give you one of our Pokemon instead, and you can get either Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan, which is like a punch-oriented or a kick-oriented Pokemon, which is pretty funny, I think. I like the idea that they just lost their accreditation, and I don't know. That's a little bit of world building that I like. I thought it was cute. They could have just had an extra place, but they put in some cute little world building. But it sounds like you skipped it, so, you know, you're not cool enough. You don't have one of those. Can't believe you didn't add that to your team, since it's so diverse. Yeah. So then, I think we did this in different order, because you can really hit in either order pretty comfortably. Oh gosh, she just grabbed the cat and like tried to throw that cat off the edge of the table.
Did not know she had that much That was honestly an achievement.
You're learning new things about your daughter, huh? So at this point, did y'all go after the psychic type first, or the like poison type first? Because this is where it really opens up. You can kind of go in either direction pretty comfortably here. Do y'all remember who you hit first?
I did poison.
You did poison first. Okay. What about you, Austin?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay. I'll just talk about Saphron City. So the psychic type gym, which I think we may have done last, but whatever. That's the next one we're going to talk about. With the fun, cute little teleporting puzzle. How much fun did everyone have with that? Was that nice and that was enjoyable?
That was frustrating, but something that I didn't realize. You can skip like all the trainers.
Oh yeah. You have to like run right across them to get them. You can.
Yeah, if you stay at the bottom of the screen, like the farthest away from them, you can go back and forth, and they won't start a battle with you. So you can basically go straight to
Sabrina. Yeah.
To Sabrina, yeah.
I like fighting. I make a point to fight every trainer in every gym, actually. So I actually did the opposite, where I tried to make sure I didn't skip one. Just because I don't know. I think that's fun. Austin, do you remember the teleporting puzzle?
No. Did I do this, Jim?
Did you miss this gym? You have to get it. Open up your file real quick.
It's on a completely different computer right now.
Oh, okay. It's over there. Well, I'm just gonna...
Because I thought the last gym that we fought was the one with the invisible walls.
That is a different one. That was the poison type. That was the ninja guy.
Okay, I don't know Saphron City at all.
Oh, did you not do Saphron City?
I don't think I did.
Oh, well then you are not caught up, sir.
I didn't know that was a requirement, because we wanted to go to the Safari Zone. I went to the Safari Zone, did the gym, did Safari Zone, and stopped. I just went normal.
So, funnily enough, Austin, you were just saying that you actually hadn't gone through Saphron City. So this will be something Christian and I can talk about. He apparently missed this one. You'll have to catch up on this. Okay. But I was talking about Saphron City first. So we did there's the fun fake gym, which I talked about, Hitmonchan. And then we get to the psychic gym. Psychic, as we've alluded to several times before, is by far the most broken type in this generation, because it's supposed to have that weakness to bug and dark. But it lost the weakness to dark, I think it is. It's only weak to bug, I think, in this version. And it's actually strong against dark. And all the bug Pokemon are pathetic in this game. Like, they're just early game, you know, whatever. So this gym, Austin, which you're about to go to, is miserable, and you will hate it. The actual deal isn't that bad. This has got the teleporting thing, which we talked about, the puzzle, but it, in terms of typing, is going to be a bit of a challenge for most people, except you'll be so over-leveled that it doesn't really matter. But just watch out. Confusion is miserable, which I mentioned. It kind of has a similar problem to Rap, in that you can just keep getting hit, and it confuses you and keep hitting yourself, and that stinks. So, do not like. I won't spend too much on it, because there's not much to it, and like I said, Austin, kinda missed it, or he hasn't gone to it yet. And then, did you guys get given a Lapras, right? No? Did you guys not do that? You can go to the Sylph Scope, you can go to the Sylph. Remember that you get to do Team Rocket again. They fight the Giovanni has taken over that city.
Yeah.
Did you do that, Austin?
Giovanni?
Or you've just missed this whole town. Did you
I
fight
haven't
Giovanni
been
the
to
second?
Saphron Town at all, you know that.
That's so funny. Okay, so 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 you're about to, Austin, remember there was that one place that was taken over, we just talked about at Celedon City, when you had to go through the whole thing with the Team Rocket. Well, Team Rocket's taken over another thing, a giant tower. Instead of going down to the basements, you're going up the tower and attacking them all, and it's a giant teleporting maze, and I don't like it, It was a lot, and it was too much, in my opinion. Christian, since you've gone through this yet, did you find any trouble with the 13 floors of the stupid tower yet? We had to fight Giovanni at the top?
No.
Because you have to find the key that actually lets you open things.
You have to find the key and the teleporters to all the rooms. I
spent 3 hours just getting through that.
Yeah.
So
because in the dialogue, you run into basic Team Rocket people, and there are, I believe, 4 brothers.
Probably. I wasn't paying that close attention, I'm going to be honest. What do the brothers do?
They're just like regular battles, but they have their own special dialogue. Like, I can't believe you beat my other brothers. You won't beat me.
My favorite thing in relation to this, which you'll get to in a bit, is that also when you get there, so this company's been taken over by Team Rocket. They're holding it hostage and using their technology for their own selfish gain or whatever. But the really funny thing is that flipping the employees, there's scientists there, and the employees totally turn against you and just will fight you too. It's here, I'm here to save you. And they're like, I don't know, Rocket's kind of cool. What if we were just evil? So that's pretty funny. Okay, but we'll move on from that because you haven't done that. Just don't forget to go back and do that because you'll have to at some point. So yeah, more homework for you. Sorry, you'll love it. Love to love it. Alright, so then after Saphron City, we go through all the routes, and I guess the bike route is worth talking about. Yeah, so that's... I didn't go back and get the bike, I'm going to be honest at this point. No. Well, I did now, but when I got to this, I was I had to go back and go, okay, I guess I have to go get the bike now, because... there's not really a play. It's so cumbersome to get out that I didn't feel it was worth using as a fast run thing. There just isn't a straight stretch of land enough to bother getting it. But I was pretty pumped at this point because once we got past this and we started getting, because we're headed to Fushia City, that's where the podcast is wrapping up here, is at Fushia City. Once we got to this point, I finally started getting the rest of my team all came together. Because I'd gone through most of the games, I got Lane at the beginning, I got Basher, I think right before the second gym, and then the only other thing was at Celedon, I got Brody. But I go through a lot of this game, probably, 15 hours, without half my team, half my planned team. But right around here is where I started finally, all 3 became available right in the same, couple of hours of gameplay. So I got myself a, I'll pull it up. This is where I started, because at the end of this session where we were, I finally got my entire team put together. At the end of this, I managed to get, I made Omeletta, the Executor, which looks, the sprite's really janky in this version. This is a really dumb joke, but I have a Doe Duo, which is going to be a Doe Trio, and it's Little Monica, because it's Doe, it's so stupid, it's Doe Duo and then it becomes Doe Trio, so it's counting, so my brain it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was Mambo number 5, so that's a real big stretch of a joke. And then I got a Slowbro, which is going to be, a Slowbro is going to, be a Slow King eventually, it's not quite yet, my newest 3 haven't been evolved yet, but I did in fact name it Barbara Manatee in honor of the beautiful silly songs from Larry.
That is
So, Barbara Manatee. So, I got my team all together finally. You managed to catch some important members. Your team's complete too, right, Christian?
Yes.
Okay, who did you have? Who's your final team that we're looking at here?
So, my final team required me to get creative.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What happened?
So, I knew how. So, my team at this point.
Yeah.
I have Billy, the Venusaur. So, I got Grass and Poison. I got Nido Burrito, Poison and Ground.
Yeah.
I got Spencer, Psychic.
Yeah.
I have Hot Dog, Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to expand and get as many types as possible.
Right, you wanted more type coverage for what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, in order to continue to progress through the game, I have to have a Pokemon that can surf.
Yeah.
And I have to have someone that can fly.
Yeah.
So, I went for a Shelter.
Okay.
For my surf. I named him Chowder because Clan Chowder.
Oh man.
And I didn't want to use Lapras.
Mhm.
I felt like
Because he's given to you.
just because he was giving
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I wanted to catch my Pokemon. So
Aren't the rates for those incredibly low though?
for shoulders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
was-
like 5% or something.
I did a lot of fishing. I did a lot of fishing.
Mhm.
I ended up upgrading
Mhm.
my fishing rod twice. Like I went around to get the
Yeah, the super and then the great rod. Yeah.
and I finally found the shelter. And then the only thing that was left, well, before I
Mhm.
go this far,
Oh, okay.
since I mentioned Lapras, here's a fun fact.
Oh, okay. You have more fun
originally-
facts.
Originally, Lapras was going to be named Ness
Oh, for Nessie, right?
for the Loch Ness Monster,
Okay, I love that.
just because of the shape. And
Yeah.
based on the pictures
It
that
does
we
look
see.
like the Loch Ness Monster,
So I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah.
And then the only other Pokemon I needed was something that could fly.
Mhm.
So, and all the flying Pokemon that's non-legendary are normal flying type.
Yeah, no, there's a real limit. If I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, because I ran into this. Part of why I picked Doduo was because I didn't want to just pick Spearow or Pidgey personally, because I've used them a lot, and your only options for fly besides a legendary, I think, are Spearow, Fearow, the Pidgeotto line, Doduo, or the one you picked, right?
Farfetch.
Yeah. Who's like the best ancient slave in the game, I think, right?
From what I've seen, he is. The issue with getting him is you have to trade.
Yeah, the only way to get him in
That's
your,
the
because you
only
have
way.
blue. Can you get him in red naturally, or does it? Well, at least I know in blue, which you have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have red.
You have red? I'm playing blue. That's right. I'm playing blue. So in red, at least, the only way.
In red, the only way to get him is through trade.
Yeah.
I had to trade a Fearow, so I had to get a Spearow.
Oh, and then
and
evolve
then
it.
evolve it.
Dude, so you went way out for this team then.
Well, I didn't want to go with a Spearow or a Fearow just because
Too easy.
too easy, and I don't love the design of them. I thought Farfetch was more fun.
He's definitely cute.
I didn't get to choose his name though because
Because he's a traded
He's a
one.
traded
So you're.
one.
What's his name in this one?
honestly, his name's not that bad.
What is it?
Ducks.
Ducks D.
X. I felt like it was good enough to keep.
You know what?
But he's pretty nice.
Oh my word.
He could do, I believe, like you said, he was the best ancient slave.
4. Doesn't he?
He
His
could do everything but surf.
#1 on the charts, baby. So you got your Farfetch'd.
Yes, I got my Farfetch. So my final team is complete. And actually, I didn't notice this
Mm-hmm.
until after I completed my team.
Mm-hmm. Just gonna erase your game again.
Nito, oh shit, I was dead. Nito Burrito could have learned surf.
Oh, you didn't realize that.
I didn't realize.
Surf is a good move actually to have. It's one of the few moves that's like you have to learn it, but it's also like a decent combat move.
Well, I didn't realize that Nito Burrito being a poisoned ground
Well, clearly,
could surf.
dude, he's from California. You know, he picked up the skills. Okay, so we went through. We got that, and Austin. So at this point, you've got access to a lot of Pokemon. So how's your team shaping up at this point in the game?
Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Just making sure that's a good move. I think you got some good type coverage there with electric. You know, you got some normal moves tossed
Get a
in.
few.
Pure, the whole gambit's covered right there. I think.
Yeah, the Geodudes beg to differ.
I gotta say, how can I make like Geodude damn it into like a Geo damn it or something? There's a pun there if I work hard enough. Anyway. I guess Geodude is like GD, but then that's getting profanities. I mean, use the Lord's name. I don't know. Somehow the pun will work. Either way, We went down the bicycle road. It was totally tubular. Actually, here's a good question for you, Austin. Do you have the map pulled up in any way?
Not right now.
Okay, I'm gonna resend the link super duper fast in the podcast. Okay, there's that. So if you pull up the map, you can see how Fushia City is like at the bottom, right? That's where we're headed. Did you take, to get to Fushia, did you take the road, Route 16, 17, and 18, the bicycle road, or did you go to the right of Vermilion and kind of go along the east coast of Kanto?
I took bike route.
Okay, because I actually started going the east coast. I fought the Snorlax there. I don't know if y'all fought that Snorlax there. I fought it just to kind of do that, and then I realized that Doduo and the things I wanted were down that 16, 17, 18 route, because that's where Doduo was. I think that's where Executor is.
Well, I thought they were in the Safari.
One of them's in the Safari, and one of them was like along the way to the Safari Zone. I know Doduo I didn't get in the Safari Zone. I know I got Doduo on Route 17, actually. Okay. But anyway, this is just when it opened up in this area. Either way. So we got there. It sounds like you also took the bike route, right? We've kind of ignored the east side, haven't we?
I forgot to do Saphron City.
Also? We all forgot it? No, except for me?
I got down to Fushia City, and then I realized, I'd missed a gym.
Oh, okay.
So then I took the East Coast route.
Oh, okay, so you did loop the whole thing. Okay, maybe that's what Austin can do in a bit. I hit the city and then went down, and I kind of ignored the East Coast just because I was like, I also didn't want to over-level. I started going there a little bit to actually get what I missed, and I realized I was going to get over-leveled, so I was like, I have to stop before I get too strong. Because that's an interesting aspect of my run, is, Okay, so then we all did this. Now we're back on track, though, because we all did Fushia City and the Safari Zone. So this is another big place. This is what makes me think, again, I was thinking really technical limitations at the beginning. But between Celedon and here, there's a lot to do here. This is a pretty big city. So we've got the Safari Zone here, which is a really... Okay, I just want to ask, I guess I'll ask you, Austin, first. What do you think about the Safari Zone like as a concept for this game?
So my thoughts on the Safari Zone is it's pretty interesting way to catch additional Pokemon without having to really go through your Pokeball supply. The time limit makes trying to get to the HM in there a bit annoying if you don't have the route memorized. Because if you're trying to figure it on your own, you're going to get kicked out at least 3 or 4 times before you finally make it. I ended up just pulling up a map because I was not making it to them. And I didn't remember the way. But my favorite thing about the Safari Zone is in randomizer mode, when you have no idea what kind of fun things can just pop up there.
We played, before we did this as the podcast, we did a Fire Red Leaf Green, which ended up not getting finished, sadly. Randomizer, and you wanted Mewtwo, and he was in the Safari Zone.
Yeah, so I was hunting Mewtwo for hours, and I never got him.
Oh my word. But so Christian, what do you think about the Safari Zone, conceptually here, and I guess in execution too?
Conceptually, I think it's a really fun idea to have certain Pokemon only in the Safari Zone. It's like you're going on a special expedition.
Yeah.
Because these Pokemon aren't native to this region, so this is the only place where you would find them.
That's a cool idea. Yeah.
Almost like a zoo, almost.
Yeah. And they have the zoo kind of thing on the outside. Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought about it conceptually. I thought it was a really good idea.
Okay.
I think execution-wise, kind of like Austin was saying, the step limit gets annoying.
Gets old. Okay.
Especially because if you're, like Austin said, if you don't know where you're going, or if you want to try to collect everything, you're going to go through it 5 or 6 times.
Oh yeah.
Because there are some items that are off away that you can't get the teeth.
Oh yeah, which is what you need to progress as the golden teeth here, yeah.
Which, that I think is a funny concept. This guy...
He can't even talk.
He can't talk, but he's just a normal guy, so why can't he just go in the Safari Zone and where he...
I think he's the worst. I think he owns... It's worse than that. I think he owns the Safari Zone. He's the warden, so he's not just... Because I can almost understand maybe a normal guy is bad at Pokemon and can't handle it or whatever. I don't think we explained the Safari Zone real quick, and for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure everyone knows, but that you go in this area, you actually don't do a Pokemon battle. It's kind of like Pokemon Go, for those more modern, but like you don't battle, you just throw a ball or a rock, which makes it easier to catch but more likely to run, or food, which makes it harder to catch but less likely to run. Are kind of your three options. And there's a 500 step limit, I think.
I think so.
It's a something step limit, and you only have 30 balls. So just to clarify, but I want to explain for people who maybe didn't know what the Safari Zone was.
So at the very end of the Safari Zone, if you haven't like talked to many people before getting to the Safari Zone, you just find this set of gold teeth. And you don't know what to do with it. And you just think, this is the weirdest item. Why do I have this?
Oh my gosh.
And then if you continue to explore and talk to people
in Fushia City,
then they'll tell you like, oh yeah, the ward he's been just blabbering on. I can't understand a word he says.
Because he's lost his dentures.
He's lost his dentures.
But they're golden. They're not just
gold.
They're golden. It's a full set of golden teeth.
And like,
it's amazing.
It's such a goofy concept.
Oh my word!
But it's so comical that this guy.
Well, because if you find him before you find the teeth, I don't know if you did.
He just
just
twice. But then when you find him, he gives you the strength HP?
I think it's strength, and you need strength to get surf. Like there's a in his office is like surf, which you need to progress, which it's hidden behind a large rock that you need strength to get.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I think there's one other important thing in there. It might be he gives you the ability to use strength. There's the teeth, and there's something else important there, and I don't remember what it is. The hidden machine of strength, maybe, or something.
He lets you get to the gym. So, like the gym there in Fushia City is blocked off until you get in his teeth, I believe. Because you can't complete the gym until after you've like gotten in his teeth. I can't remember if it's because there's a rock in front of the gym or because the person's saying, we've closed the gym until we find teeth.
I didn't realize you couldn't get into the gym until you did that?
I don't believe
I don't think that's true, because I did Safari Zone after the gym.
Yeah, I think you can get to the gym.
Maybe I'm making this up.
That's okay. You probably didn't until... It's hidden kind of away. You still have to go, like... It's out of the way. It's very easy to do Safari. Safari Zone's, like, in the middle of the map, and the gym is kind of sequestered off to the south. But, yeah. I think, conceptually, like, I think we've all agreed, the Safari Zone's pretty darn dope. I think why not? In my opinion, like, I think this is an easy fix. You already have a 30-ball limit. Why not that's the limit? Not a step limit. Like, when you run out of Pokeballs, you're done. So that, maybe even lower it to 15, I don't know, whatever you want. You know, like, if there were... So, you have 15 balls. You can throw those. When you throw them, you're done. That could give you, if you wanted to explore the zone itself, you can explore forever. Just don't throw the Pokeball. You know, you just keep running from battles or something like that. I don't know. That's my... I can... yeah. So I think that would be a nice fix for... I mean, do you have other adjustments you'd make to it, Austin?
No, that sounds like a good idea, because then it would make the idea of hunting a specific one in the Safari Zone much more tolerable.
Yeah, because you could just hold off until you find your Chansey or whatever it is you're looking for, yeah. But yeah, I think Safari Zone's pretty cool. But... And then I guess the last thing we'll probably talk about today, the last area, and then we can kind of sum up our thoughts and our teams and things like that. But the last thing we did was fight the ninja gym. I think it's called the poison type or whatever. I'm trying to I thought it was my version. I thought it was my emulator. I want to ask you guys. So the whole gimmick of this gym is that there are invisible walls. It's an invisible maze, and you have to navigate it. However, on my version, and I've peeked over at your version and your version, Christian, they're very... The invisible walls are not even remotely invisible. Yeah. They are very visible. What about Austin? Were they visible on yours too?
They were very visible.
Okay, so this is just a thing.
Just an emulator.
No, because you're on official... Like, I'm emulating with settings, so I thought my colorization might have done it. Because I think the emulator I have is, like, maybe falsely colorizing. I'm not sure. I think mine may be modded. Not in the gameplay, but I think the visuals might be slightly modded, which I didn't try and do, but I think the emulator might plug in. And Austin's is playing yellow, where he's got, like, the enhanced color. So I thought, well, maybe we're doing it that way. But yours is in black and white. It's like it's on original hardware. You're playing on an actual 3DS from the DS store.
Yeah.
it's in no way modded. It's not having any emulation enhancements or anything. Because even his, I went, hey, do this to turn down the brightness of the color. It's some slight visual tweaks. You're playing on official Nintendo hardware.
Yeah.
And it is very clearly visible. So he's just the worst ninja in the entire universe, I've decided. But he's got poison. At this point, wasn't that big a deal for me, especially with the 3 guys. I've got my final team.
Yeah.
I think he did poison a few people. I went back to heal because I don't bother to use items. I just keep running back to the... I mean, I assume, was he a joke for the rest of y'all, too?
Yeah,
I zapped him to death.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so, woo, tough. I think this will get... I'm interested to see... I will say this, because now that we're winding down on this section, because obviously the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get the last 2 gems. Well, Austin's got to go back and get the Psychic gem. Sorry, Austin. But, but we've only got 2 gems left and we're beating the game. And at this point, it is kind of a breeze. I'm interested to see challenges, I guess, as we're looking into the next game. We're not there yet. We still have a little bit left to do, but I'm thinking... Like, I'm still going to continue my challenges, I think. You've talked about, Christian, doing a Nuzlocke, potentially.
It's been a thought.
As you've been playing this, how are you feeling about doing that? Because you said this has kind of been a breeze for you, like, all the way through.
With my typing, it has been a breeze. Nuzlocks are difficult, though.
Yeah.
And the thing that would make a Nuzlocke so much more difficult is I've already told myself, if I catch a Pokemon and play with it, I'm not going to catch it in any later generations.
Oh!
It has a new evolution.
I haven't heard that. Okay. So all the guys you've got now are banned for the future.
All I have is banned for the future.
Okay.
So, with a Nuzlocke, though, if I lose a Pokemon, I lose it for the next 8 generations.
Okay, yeah.
Because I played with it.
Yeah. That's true.
So that's going to be the difficult.
I'm interested to see what kind of challenges. And Austin, are you thinking any challenges for yourself? Or are you sticking to your, I'm just going to do 1, and then I'm just going to do 2, and then I'm just going to do 3?
I'm just going to up my Pokemon number each game.
Yeah, you're not really interested in this being difficult. You're having fun, I hope.
I mean, it's kind of difficult right now with just Pikachu. It's going to get easier, but a lot of the games are new to me, so I'm just kind of playing them.
That's fair, too. I've really, I guess as we're summing up on this, I've really had a blast, I think, with Gen 1. It has been way more fun than I thought. Going into this project, the one I dreaded the most was Gen 1. I honestly, like, Sword and Shield looks rough to me, but it looks playable. I think it'll be boring, but I think we'll get through. Gen 1 was the one where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to stop and grind or not even be able to do my challenge because something will break it. And it's been surprisingly playable. There have been some interesting quality of life quirks, like I miss experience share, which does exist in the game. You just have to catch 50 Pokemon before you can use it. And you didn't know, like the item inventory limit, I don't know why it is the way it is. Maybe there's some limitation I don't understand, but it's frustrating as all get out. But overall, I've been surprised how playable this has been. And enjoyable. We had to take like a 2-month break as we've been trying to catch up, and I've missed it. I've been like, I wish I could keep playing, and I can't. And 2 months later, I still felt that way. I'm psyched that we've done this so that I can get back to finishing the game with y'all. So, I think that speaks really highly to how well this has held up. Like, when 1998, so, yeah, like 20 years later, right? Is that 1998? 2000? Yeah, 20 plus years later. Nearly
way more than 20 years.
25 years.
Yeah,
just
25 years
younger than me.
Yeah, 20. Ooh, wow. A game that old and not just that old, because like 1998 had good games, it had good story. Like Metal Gear came out, I think I mentioned that. Ocarina of Time's out. There are more advanced games, but this is on a pocket calculator, basically. Yeah. The Game Boy was old when this came out. The Game Boy was aging hardware when this game came out. It was actually, a lot of people thought it was dead and done. And this came along and revitalized it and made it last another, like, few years. Because it was that good a game. And some games are very of their time. They don't hold up. Like GoldenEye, right? Defined a generation. You ever try to go back and play GoldenEye? It's miserable.
I tried to play GoldenEye on the Switch, and it was just...
part of that's the controller, but also it's awful.
Yeah.
Like, just because it didn't age well. I've been shocked how well this has aged, I felt like. As we're playing it. Where are you guys on that scale? Is this kind of boring, you're looking more forward to, okay, let's get this over with, get to the other ones, or has the experience of this game in and of itself been more exciting than you expected or worse than you expected? Austin, I'll bug you first.
So far the game, at least in terms of how I was expecting the game to generally play out, has been as I expected.
Okay.
The difficulty with only a Pikachu has been much more difficult than I expected.
Has it been a rewarding challenge or more frustrating, or somewhere in the middle?
It has amplified the experience.
It amplified in a good way? Amplified just means more of.
There's been amplified joy and amplified I hate this game.
Oh my word. Okay, Christian, what about you?
I have thoroughly enjoyed this generation, more so than I thought.
Yeah.
I grew up on like Fire Red, Leaf Green,
Right, yeah.
and Ruby and Sapphire, and I wasn't sure going into this. I wasn't sure just how different Gen 1 Fire. I mean, not
Yeah, the red, yeah.
Red would be versus Gen 3 Fire Red.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's been a really good experience. It's different, but still enjoyable.
Yeah.
It hasn't, going to the previous generation has not caused it to lose the enjoyment factor.
Yeah.
It's still definitely enjoyable and gives me more of an appreciation for how far the game has come just in Gen 3, because I haven't played Gen 9.
I'm pumped for you to play Gen 4. I think that's where it gets really good. But
that's what everyone's told me. I'm excited. But all in all, I'd say it's been a really good experience, and I'm looking forward to finishing this one out. And
oh yeah, next session we're definitely finishing, and then we'll wrap up. I don't know how much of the end game we're going to do. We'll figure that out. We can look at that. But I think, yeah, we're probably going to wrap it next time. And then, gentlemen, if you're both up for it, I figure we'll just head on to Gen 2 and go from there. Yeah, I think, out of the Pokemon I've played, wait, I'm kind of cheating a little bit. We're jumping ahead. Out of the Pokemon I played, this, I have to probably objectively say, is the worst. I think I have to say that. But it is, despite being probably the worst out of the ones I've played, it is way better than I expected. It is probably, like, if I had a tier list out of the ones I've played, it's probably like, Diamond, or not Diamond, Platinum, like Fire Red, and then Platinum, Fire Red, then maybe Ruby and Sapphire, and then, like, probably Gen 1's probably below Ruby and Sapphire for me. However, well, actually, it's not true. Honestly, right now I'm having more fun with this than I was Ruby and Sapphire, but I think that was the company I was playing it with. I want to give Ruby... I think Ruby and Sapphire will be, but when we'll get there. Either way, I've been shocked how much I've enjoyed this. It is definitely... there's no... I think anyone who does say... I'll say this much. I think anyone who says Gen 1 is, like, the only good one, or, like, the best... I don't think I can go that far. I just don't think so. I don't mean to be rude, but I think that has more to do with the time it was played than the quality of the game itself.
More of a nostalgia factor versus the actual gameplay factor.
I think so. Like, I think so right now. But I think anyone who says, no, Gen 1 sucks and is totally terrible and is only nostalgia is why you like it, I disagree with that. I don't have nostalgia for Gen 1. And I'm having a blast. So. Yeah. I'm looking forward to finishing it with you guys. You guys have made the experience of a pretty good game into, like, one of the best of my life so far, honestly. This has been such a blessing for me. I have, even though the game's pretty fun, you guys have elevated it to, like, one of the most fun things I've done in my life. So I'm super looking forward to finishing it up with you guys, and then I guess moving on to Gen 2. So
sounds good to me.
I'm pumped. On that note, thanks, guys. I think we might be the Gameboys Advance. We might be the Gameboys. I still don't know. It'll get a name eventually.
Yeah, let's go for it.
It's just so. I think we'll call it there. That's an hour and a half ish. So yeah, let's call it there. Love you guys, and looking forward to the final podcast on Gen 1.
Catch you later.
Sounds good.
Oh.